Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om Swami. Hari Om Swamiji. Hari Om Swamiji.
Prayer for world peace. Adorable presence, thou who art within and without, above and below and all around, thou who art interpenetrating the very cells of our being, thou who art the eye of our eyes, the ear of our ears, the heart of our hearts, the mind of our minds, the breath of our breath, the life of our lives, and the soul of our souls. Blessed dear God, to be aware of thy presence now and here. This is all that we ask of thee. May all of us be aware of thy presence in the east and the west, in the north and the south. May peace and goodwill abide among individuals as well as communities and nations. This is our earnest prayer. May peace be unto all. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. There are two aspects which Papa always tries to highlight: indwelling and all-pervading. The indwelling reality has been brought out beautifully here. Thou who art within and without. Okay. Thou who art interpenetrating the very cells of our being. Trillions of cells in our body. Thou who art the eye of our eyes. That one, that power with which the eyes see. No? The ear of the ears, that power by which the ears hear. The heart of our hearts, that power which makes the heart to function. The mind of our minds, that power which enables us to think. Breath of our breath, that power which makes us to breathe. The life of our lives, totally, the life force of our now present life. The soul of our souls. The sense of individuality is the small soul. The soul of our soul, that one which is behind. So when we go through this prayer, some idea about the indwelling reality. And we have been assured by Mahatma that when we make some inroads into our own core of being, that will enable us to see him everywhere outside. Without that, it will not be possible. So that is how today's session begins. Yes, now tell me.
Swamiji, I had a question. Yesterday we talked about receipt from vanishing forms.
Yesterday we talked about?
Receipt from vanishing forms.
Receding
and
from
connect to
vanishing
soul. I want to understand more of it from an individual level.
Receding from all forms. What has Papa written?
vanishing forms, Swamiji. Receding from vanishing forms.
Understand Ram, to strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing. Because the moment we are thinking about the forms, it keeps on changing. So we hardly understand the principle behind it. The life force behind it. The core behind it. Everything is born and it grows and again dies. But we have been told there is one who is behind this creator, protector and destroyer. No? So if I have to go to that, I must recede, I must withdraw from the vanishing form, otherwise I will not be able to see. I will be always seeing the vanishing forms only. It will not take me to the source, the seed behind the tree, The tree, the seed sprouts, it becomes a seedling, then a plant, then a tree, and then finally after so many years it dies. But I should know that the seed is there. We don't mean the physical part of the seed, the creative power in it. That is why the creative power propagates itself in the form of so many fruits and seeds again. So behind every form, we have been asked, Papa in the first page of I2G, when he identified the mysterious power and named it as Ram, the core, the supporter, we will not be able to see that if we don't withdraw ourselves from the changing form. We don't mean permanently withdrawing. Withdrawing to know the core content and later on coming back and to know later that it is also his form. So to know that, we have to withdraw. To recede from the vanishing form. To strive to approach and understand Ram is to recede from the world of vanishing form, because Ram is the only truth, the only reality. So the moment we try to do that, the thoughts take away. So that is why we have been asked to take to chanting of his name, so that the thoughts are arrested, controlled, tamed, and made to turn towards the source. Otherwise it always goes out. And the moment we see only the varied manifestation. We don't say varied manifestation. If we say varied manifestation of that mysterious power. But we see varied creation. Okay, that would be the better. We see the varied creation and we don't see the power behind. So first, Papa says, to know the mysterious force behind everything, we have to withdraw ourselves from the varied creation. To know the creative. The prayer which we read out now. If we have to contemplate upon the theme, we have to withdraw, Otherwise, how will we know suppose you say I or the I. When we are trying to understand what is the power that makes me to see. Can any outside factors help us? No. Because it is an inward journey. Initially we don't know how to move about. How am I seeing it? What is it that makes me to see? The moment I open my eyes, I see everything, Correct. A dead body doesn't see that. But I see this. Like that, when we go through these things, we are receding from the changing form. Think about it. Each word we will get a meaning for ourselves. So unless I withdraw from this, I will not be able to know the sustaining principle. Again that site and building, If we think about the building, we will not see the site. But suppose you have bought the site and built a house. You have seen it as a site. You have built it. Later on, over the years, you are only your mind comes only to the building. You may sell it or you may modify it. So many things come, but you are not aware of the site. To know the site, you have to withdraw yourself from the building. You suddenly go back to the days when you bought the site, you went there. How you felt elated by getting the site. Then you made the measurement. Then you started thinking how many square feet is there. How many, what type of a building I can have, whose split area is so much. Like that, so many things. But the site will be there. The site, if you have to dwell on the site, you have to withdraw yourself from the building. Not that you are not seeing building at all. You are coming back and seeing both now, the site and the building. Is it clear?
Swamiji, how can we do it in our daily life? How can we do it? How can we implement it in our daily life?
You cannot do it in one go. You have to start practicing it from one item. Because we have to train our mind, If we will not be able to see the wrong factor, the common factor, but we can start seeing from one night. For example, when you get up, you are seeing your room. Room is a part of a building. When there is no building in the world, the great intelligence, who is called the mysterious force, through an individual, made a concept about building. So you try to connect yourself with that great intelligence. Like that, there could be so many methods. These are some of the methods. That will help us because you are connecting with your brush, with your paste, your soap, with your wash basin, with your toilet, with your drawing room, with your kitchen, with your plate, One item you take, Suppose you look at the calendar, you look at the book, you somehow see the letters. You are thinking about the language. When there was no language in the world, how the language came? Intuitive, we must have that, what do you call it? Probing nature to go deep within, from the surface level to a deeper level.
Does it mean detachment? Does it mean detachment?
Why we bring all those words, We try to understand everything as they are.
Okay.
And when we are on this path, the more we attune ourselves to the power behind everything, others will name it as detachment. That's all. We are not in the common run of life, where we get attached to objects, persons, situations. Because our goal is this. When we are on this goal, automatically the withdrawal comes from other sectors, other fields. That is why Papa insisted about this meditation and chanting. First chapter itself, going deep within. We find it difficult because we are not used to it. We have not trained our equipment. We have conditioned our equipment that this is how I have to go, this is how everybody goes, tradition. All those things are there. So that is why we are finding it difficult. So here, right from the minutest, and this is what the IQ in the study teaches us. He is trying to identify that code with everything, with all situations, with all person. So we try to go deeper and deeper and deeper. We are finding it difficult because we have not applied our mind on those lines, that's all. But it is possible. Any small item, any small item you take, that can lead us. The great intelligence behind it. And we are a product of that intelligence. A tiny little speck. We start thinking about it now. How we became a human being, how all the stones and our organs were given to us, how in a coordinated way everything is functioning. Think about it. Who created it? So when we have to think about it, each and every, here, Swami Omkarji Maharaj brought out two, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, like that. One is enough. How am I seeing it? I don't have to go anywhere to learn this. What is it that makes me to think? What is it that makes me to see, to taste? I say it is sweet, it is bitter. How is it possible? We go along with this, so we don't bother about it. We say it is sweet, it is bitter. You may ask, why should we break our head on all these things? Enjoy, or reject. Need not. If there is an intense desire to know the goals, then we have to do it. Otherwise, we need not bother. When the time comes for us to apply our mind on these directions, then only we will be able to do it. Otherwise, we may think, why should I bother about all this? That means our priority has not still been shifted to the power behind it. Power. I exist because he exists. We have some bodily pain, okay. We know that there is a pain. Who is knowing it? He has given us a body. When something goes out of order, we get disease. We go to the doctor, get the medicine. Then again we think about it, how the doctor, the concept of medical science, how it came. So when he gave us the body, he knew that we will misuse or disuse it. So naturally, he has to bring out remedies in the form of medical science, through medical science, different branches, allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurvedic, nature cure, so many, Yunani, Siddha, and then give us the suggestions. Behind everything. So that this aspect we have to keep on bringing. Good that your race is receding from the present field.
Swamiji.
It is difficult to recede, I agree, but we have to. During exam time, we receded, We concentrated. Because we wanted exclusive,
Why I asked about detachment was because the moment we try to connect with the source, our outlook, our thought, emotions, everything changes, and sometimes it comes to a standstill.
Sometimes it comes with a
standstill.
Tension.
Still, it becomes still, very still, like a feelingless, thoughtless. Mataji, please help me. Chandra, Mataji.
It becomes still.
Still. Buddha ho gaya na, I got it. ठीक है.
It stands still.
Which is good.
It stands still. All thoughts will stand still.
If you get that, it's nice. What is that stillness, It is the base. It is the base from which everything has come. So, the purpose of chanting is to get a taste of this stillness. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. It may not be there for a longer time, doesn't matter. But we should know that stillness is the background upon which everything exists.
A feeling of reverence comes.
Feeling of reverence
comes.
Feeling of reverence.
Right. Very good. That should be there.
Even this spoon. A spoon also I touch. I suddenly, there is Ram here. And I don't know.
When she touches the spoon, she feels Ram is there in spoon.
Correct. 100% correct. That is how we have to try. From small items. That means the reality, the spoon, the reality, we give the name Ram. It has come from that source, reality. It is expressing in the form of that reality. And it is prompting us to use that. That's of the reality. That is why they said, otherwise, let us not superimpose something on the spoon. Spoon is that, glass is that. We may get it. The only thing is, we are unable to sustain it, that's all. Some moments we become highly sattvic, highly meditative. And after some time we come back. So now we are praying to Him. You gave us a taste. But at the same time the mind keeps on pulling us away. Please help us. Help us to know that even the pulling is also done by you, okay. Then we will not complain. That means the reality, that is why it's called reality. Reality behind everything. When you say the indwelling reality, what is reality? Reality is that which is in that form. We are not adding anything. We are trying to understand the reality in everything. Reality in that form. Reality in that situation. That is why he said, yesterday we had elaborate discussion. Spontaneity, The moment we come to know that, then what happens is the spontaneity. Yesterday we had elaborate, Everybody is keeping quiet.
Yes, sir. The points are written and kept also there.
Spontaneity
of life born out of egoless purity and innocence.
So that means that comes out when this process goes on in our mind. No prefix, no suffix. Just see the reality. Pujya Swami also has mentioned, in his 2003 article. When I take the glass is also consciousness. The drink is also consciousness. Like that, he was able to maintain. Mataji used to say, this is also Papa. All the articles. Now slowly we are trying to understand those words. Reality. This is very important because Papa has to clear this hurdle in our mind. We want to see God in so many things. We don't have any idea how to see Him. We agree, we have faith, we are clear about it, but we don't know how to see a glass. to see the specs, to see the dress of the table, or to see even the laptop. So we are trying to bring something more on this. No. This is the reality has come. It's called the reality. He comes out in this form. That has to be maintained, that is the problem. Now intellectually it is 100% convincing. So periodical in Satsang, Nam Japa and inward journey. Which is these three, every day we make some attempt. We get it, we lose it, we get it, lose it, like that. Doesn't matter. We'll try.
But Swamiji, today morning it gave me a guilty feeling.
Huh?
Why? Guilty feeling. Today morning it gave me guilty feeling. Why?
When cutting cabbage.
Why?
When cutting cabbage, she felt guilty because she is cutting Ram.
The life is there in that cabbage. How can I? And I'm feeling guilty.
You are also that, na? Why should you feel that? You are right. The practical problem. How will I use? Yes. Knife.
Cabbage.
The cabbage, it came in the form of cabbage, why should you deny it yourself?
How can I cut it?
You are also that, If you feel that it is separate from you, you should not cut it. But you are trying to understand that the prompting is also given. The one who was instrumental for coming out in the form of a knife, the one who is instrumental in coming out in the form of a cabbage, is the one who is prompting us now to cut it and make a sabji. So that we don't separate. When the separation comes, we agree. It is actually. So not only knife and cabbage, but slowly we will also, I am also prompted to do that. Why did I go to markets to buy this? We prompted. And how to make a soup out of it, how to make a sabji out of it, somebody who... Probably the question was about stillness, Everybody Papa wanted everybody to know the taste of stillness.
Yes, Swamiji.
God has created the situation.
Yes.
Swamiji, my own experience I'll share, Swamiji. Every day morning, because I used to go previously in car, but now I am going through a metro ride. So the problem comes is, whenever I come across youngsters on the road smoking, I get irritated somehow and then I try to tell them. But the question comes is, who is having this question? Who is seeing? When everything is included in him, what is this, why this agitation? So, how to overcome this? Seeing youngsters, because that we feel as a teacher, we tell good things to children. But when we are coming into society, seeing something bad, odd, its mind gets agitated. So, how to keep then the calmness?
If we are prompted from within, we can lovingly tell them. At that moment, if they are in a mood to hear, they will hear. And we are not bothered about how they respond to us. If we are prompted from within to tell them, then you take it that the prompting came and you did it. That's all. Lovingly you tell them. We have not come here to reform others, We have to first of all find out our own. So, as a spiritual aspirant, that is why rehearing from, it distracts our attention. God places so many such distractions before us. So, if at all we are prompted, we can say lovingly do it. We are trying to understand that God is also behind him. But we have been given two types of mind. One is the down-pulling mind and the elevating mind. So in some cases, the down-pulling mind dominates them. In the other case, elevating mind dominates. So we try to do it like that. And if we are prompted from within, we tell them lovingly. If they get offended, we say sorry, that's all. We didn't mean anything bad. We thought we should share with that's all. Anything with a touch of love, if we do that, okay. But if we are prompted from within, spontaneous. It should be spontaneous.
Yeah.
And we don't cast any aspersion on that person, individual.
Yes.
At that moment, to them, probably at that age, peer group pressure coming, they would have somehow got into it. But a day will come when they will also turn back to all these. I remember one incident that explained that to us. That one boy, he was, the parents were very, very poor, and somehow he was a studious boy. So the principal or the teacher after the exams, after the, metric, he said the boy should be sent for higher studies. They've got a bright future. But the mother was reluctant because he might fall into bad company. In the meantime, father died. And then she was in a dilemma, but the teacher insisted, no, must go. So she had this reservation in her mind. So she said, okay, you can go. But when you are away from me, whenever you hear any temple bell, just remember me. That is enough. The boy did not know what exactly she meant. He went, naturally, people helped him to be in a hostel or in some paying guest. And somehow he was able to spend. But he got a group who though innocent, they had all these habits. So one day they all went to the beach. And naturally they were carrying such things which they found that is okay for them. And compelled, this boy was very clear. So he was abstaining from everything. So they compelled him. At that time, he heard the bell. Suddenly he remembered his mother. Immediately he stood up and walked away. And all the friends asked him, why are you going away? Then he said, we come from a very poor family with all good intentions. So when the father died, mother sent me away. I should not be concentrating on these trivial things. If I concentrate, I will not be able to do justice to my studies and the ultimate aim of settling down in a life and taking care of my mother. All those things, that mother, at that time he did not know that, but when the bell rang, when he remembered the mother, all those things came as a flashback. And then not only that he abstained, others also suddenly remembered their mothers, and they threw away whatever they have brought, and they all went home and thanked that boy. So, in what way God will make everybody to transform, we don't know. We don't have any idea. So whenever we see such things, Papa did not want anybody to close our eyes and go away. Papa wanted us to, when you are prompted from within to say something, you say. But saying lovingly, and not from the individual level, you are trying to raise yourself to a higher level and tell. So that you are free from prejudices, your language, your body language, your expression, everything will be totally different. And whether they appreciate it or not, they will appreciate it later. At that particular moment, they may not, probably. I have one more incident which I saw, which I personally, yes, now it comes up. Many decades ago, when we were traveling with our mother to Palghat, from Calicut. Our 2 months school holidays, April and May. So we used to spend in our grandfather's place. When we were traveling, I vividly remember, somebody was smoking beedi. Near us there was a Swami sitting. The Swami told him. Swami took the beedi from his mouth, threw it out. He got annoyed. Again he took another beedi. Again the Swami continued, and he was sitting, serenely. Even if the other person had given him a slap, he would receive it. And third time when he did, when it was repeated by the Swami, that person stopped. Then the Swami smiled at him. So how he makes all these things to happen, we cannot. This I have seen. Though he shouted at the first time, then he did not shout. Probably, the body language of the Swami, where it spoke that he did not want to offend him. He has got a very right to spend his money on smoking. But still he thought, it is injurious to his health. So out of that care and concern only he did it. All those things he was able to convey through his body language and his serene face, even when he shouted. But he did not stop doing it. And third time also he did the same thing, just removing from his mouth and throwing it out. So there could be different ways, We remember here, today when you said, we remember. So if we are prompted from within, we can definitely raise that issue in a loving manner.
So it is nearby 100 meters from the school. That ours is Chinmaya Vidyalaya, where we tell all the children and around, even to the families and everywhere. We talk about values. And when we see these youngsters smoking nearby only, I feel that the children get influenced because they will be coming through that route. So it's a painful situation. Every day I feel seeing these youngsters smoking. What should I tell if I tell what is this? As a teacher, I am telling him.
You intensely pray to him. Why are you subjecting me to go through this? And
that's what I do, sorry. I do the same thing. So, God, why you are making me? Gurudev, I said, what is this? Why should am I supposed to close my eyes? Or what is this? Why I am seeing? To whom I should go and tell? These are my questions which will well up in me. And then sometimes I feel to go and tell them, this is wrong, you are doing wrong. Please see to it that you are hurting not only yourself and you are in the society, you are also influencing the society. The children are coming through this route. They will get influenced. This is what it goes in me continuously. Till I reach school.
We need to run away from the field, but do it lovingly. Even if you are using any other words, heart of heart you have a love only for them.
Yes, Swamiji.
Out of immaturity only they are doing, They don't know the after effects. We raise ourselves to a higher level. They don't, if they had known, they would not do it. But out of immaturity, out of lack of knowledge, or due to habits, which have certain alcoholics, they are good people, but because of the addiction, they are compelled to do it. So, what do we do? Counseling. Counseling not only to him and also to the family members. Wherever, we don't have to go in search for that field, but wherever God places ourselves in the field, we can lovingly try to handle them. And ultimately God will relieve us from all these. Surely He will relieve us. He may not change the world but He will definitely give us He will pull us out from those surroundings where, we will be able to go deeper and deeper into ourselves.
Yes, Swami. Thank you.
But Mama, you prepared something and
Shared, Swamiji.
And you can start. Anybody can start.
Padma ji.
Swamiji, one thought comes to my mind. I want to ask it. We have our own prayer. We create our own prayer, but we don't remember it. Every day there is a prayer, but the prayer we not written it down. You said it is. You can write it down then.
That would be better, That would be better to write it down, so that even when the time of writing down, you are paying. It is not for the repetition of the prayer. Whatever that prompts you get from within. You are putting it, that is why you are writing it.
But Swamiji, I don't remember, because the prayer is at that time, at that moment. And then I don't remember, because every day it is different. Every time it is different.
Has it helped you?
Yes.
If it has helped you, continue that.
It helps me.
Because each one is a judge for oneself.
Prayer is not for asking anything. Prayer for asking nearness. So, sometimes it is the same, but many times it is different.
Prayer is the link between us and Him, First, tangible gain is we are trying to assert to ourselves that He is there with us, number one. Number two, we are opening up a channel of communication with Him. That is a big gain. Very big gain.
Swamiji, prayer is talking to God, and it is spontaneous. So we don't follow any strict method or any particular prayer every day. Is it okay, Swamiji?
Exactly, that is what I also want to tell you, Swamiji. That's what my doubt is.
But see that unless and until it becomes, a practice, why are we reading book? Why are we going through the prayers written by saints to put us on the line? So initially when we say you write it down and repeat it, that itself will give you a good. Today's prayer may not be tomorrow's prayer. But you will be able to dwell more and more. And I am sure when you read it after some time, you yourself will find out how God made you to bring out those words. Many of our words we may not know how words are coming. So when we hear that again, we find, this is how he clarified it. Achha. Otherwise, the mind has got a tendency to forget. So it would be preferable, especially in the initial stages, to put it in writing, so that when we reread, not only that we will be enjoying it, we will be seeing the inner meaning more and more clearly. Even today when we read Papa's prayer, we try to read between the lines, Even Omkarji's Maharaj's prayer. How many times we have read?
Swamiji, my feeling, my difficulty is that it is not structured. One day I may say, why am I not able to be connecting with you? Why am I not able to connect with you? Second day I may feel that, why am I not bringing about your attributes every time? So the things keep changing and I don't remember after that to sit and write down.
Suppose you write down. You will know this is am I consistent? Am I consistent in remembering him? Okay. Ultimately, of course, whatever you are comfortable, you can continue. But we still feel all of us got benefited by the prayers written by Mahatmas. We were initiated into the word prayer only because somebody wrote it down. So, that means the prayer from the bottom of the heart, when it comes out, God is telling, God is repeating it. So God's words again and again, suppose when we go through that, it will definitely benefit us.
Swami, I am not saying our ashram prayers, they are written, so those things, it is consistent. But the personal prayer which you are saying, that doesn't, it is always in connection with being, realizing, Papa, why am I not able to do, what should I do, etc., etc.
Your writing is not to show to anybody, only to yourself.
But I don't remember it afterwards, every day in the morning.
Then you try, okay, so many things you don't remember. One thing you remember, that you put it in writing.
Okay.
And you will see the result. Then you will stop doing it. Then you don't need, because you know how the mind travels. Just to know how the mind travels, how the mind prioritizes, just to know how his taste and tendencies, inclinations are there, it might help. What type of prayer is coming from here? Today, suppose I am having some headache or toothache, then naturally, why are you giving me this? Okay, I gave you to know what is pain. Okay. You have a body, you are not a body. You should know that. Okay. Unless I give you a pain, I will do that. Okay. So the prayer is definitely there. Not that you should put everything in writing, only for your own sake. Not for anybody else to see it.
Okay.
If you feel extempo when it comes, that itself gives you joy, then don't worry. Carry on.
Okay, sir. Hariam Swamiji. And I want to ask Swamiji. Suppose Papa is making me to do everything. Everything is done by him only. We are not the doer. We are simply instruments. When these thoughts are going on that it is he, we are just thinking that it is he only. Everything is done by him. Then the enthusiasm to do something special sometimes goes away.
Enthusiasm to do something special?
Suppose I have decided to do some work. Routine work we are doing. But I am taking up some work, some special work. Then that enthusiasm goes away because it is, everything is done by him, so the things will happen by itself. Like that, those thoughts are coming.
Everything is done by himself. Who is telling it?
It is he.
Immediately turn. Who is telling that enthusiasm is punctured?
Yes, it is.
That means you are again keeping yourself away and thinking that God is doing everything. Even the very fact that you are recognizing that God is doing everything is because of him only, no?
Yes. Yes, Swamiji.
So,
right.
You start thinking. We have been trying, that is why, we try to impose God on so many things. And we say, yes, he is doing it. The very fact that we are talking now is also because he is there, no? He is motivating us. So then the question of the sense of individuality, losing the enthusiasm or getting enthused, it does not come at all.
Yes.
Because on the contrary, he will enthuse us continuously. That is the indication.
Okay.
Whether it is a routine work or a special work, we will not see the difference. Everything is his job,
Yes.
So there cannot be any division. So we are trying to understand. Initially we may have this compartment, correct. We have learned something, so we want to try something in our day-to-day activity. But when some have a new thing, again my sense of individuality comes and plays the part. So what am I to do now? Like that, so many thoughts will come. But suppose we keep on hammering this. Please make us aware that you are behind everything. Please make us aware that you are behind everything. So slowly, steadily, I will try to get myself fixed in that. Then no question, no answers, no?
Yes. Because he only is prompting. Right, Swamiji. Right. Right.
He and he only.
Yes.
But to make it a reality is a tough job. So we have to keep on trying.
Right. Right. Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay.
Thank you.
Swamiji, is it true that every action, every thought, is it true that every action, every feeling, every emotion is planned by him?
That is what we have been told, He is the designer. He has designed everything. And at the same time, he keeps himself away from it. And gives us the feeling that we are the planets. And he makes us to go through so many experiences. And then one day we realize that he is behind everything. And we cannot do anything beyond that. With the mind and intellect, with the knowledge he has made us to store. He made us to feel that we are thinking, we are acting, we are talking. But at a stage will come when he will make us know this. It is for that purpose only we are doing our sadhana. Not anything new. That is why it is called realization, not the attaining. Even when the sense of individuality is thinking that it is doing it, he is the doer. But he has not made us aware of it. So our struggle is to now to become aware of that. Everything. Not that we are going to keep quiet. He will make us. He will make us to become dynamic. Not that anybody turns to him, becomes idle. No? Certainly not. Because so far there were limitations of his sense of individuality. Now that limitation is slowly being lifted. And he works through that individual. And that is why we say God is omnipotent, omniscient. All dynamism comes out. May not be at the physical level. Maybe at the physical level. May not be at the mental level. Maybe at the mental level. Maybe at the spiritual level. Like that, how the dynamism comes, we cannot see. A saint sits, doesn't talk much, but how he makes so many people near Kumbakonam in Tamil Nadu. We recently went there. There is one Swami. His name is Pujya Swami. He doesn't go out of his ashram. But Saturday, Sunday, many youngsters from different parts of Tamil Nadu come to him. And he will assign them each one's duty. Medical camp, Anandashram, attending to calling on so many institutions. All type activities he will try. In a way he is dynamic, but physically he is not moving out. Seva. He said, God has given this wonderful opportunity for us. Don't miss. So like that, he used to give in his own simple ways. And he enthuses a lot of people. And we have had occasions to meet them. Many of them. So we used to ask them to go to ashram. He had come to ashram prior to taking this vow. And we also visit him whenever we pass through. And this time also we went there and stayed for a night. On 25th last month, Vivekananda Jayanti. He got an inspiration from Swami Vivekananda. So on Swami Vivekananda Jayanti, he wanted us to go there. And so we were watching 40, 50 people with no publicity, Absolutely no publicity. He doesn't move out of that compound. Now more than 10 or 15 years now. But he's making everybody dynamic. So what we mean to say, dynamism, omnipotent, omniscient means, it doesn't mean that we have to jump into so many things and do it. He will make us his true instruments. And in his own way he will do it. So the sense of individuality, when it is taken away, that nobody thinks that it will be a dull, idle life? No, certainly not. Either directly or indirectly, he will be touching, kindling so many souls.
Swamiji, these points have been typed and sent to Mataji also, whatever you discussed yesterday, and it's been translated already into Hindi, Swamiji.
Good.
And and I'm also planning to translate into, me and Ram will do it in Marathi also.
Right.
Because you said it is going to be, it has to be read daily, to understand daily.
When we translate, we have to apply our mind, Manana is going on. We may get more clarity than hearing. And then, again we reform and refine it. Chennai Ravi translated after hearing Papa's words on what is spirituality. It's a wonderful talk. So he was enthused. He immediately took up the translation. And he sent us. Again refine. The process itself is a good sadhana. No? Because Papa directly goes what is meant by spirituality. Direct. So we told him we will circulate it among all the Tamil knowing friends. Because the labor of love he was wanted to take, is wonderful. Similarly, writing, it gives more than hearing. Hearing we will forget. But when we apply our mind and then translate it, we may not be able to reach 100%. But somewhere near the ideal we may be. Because the person who talks, we may not be able to have 100% perfection in Papa's translation, book's translation. Because he has risen it to a high level and we are in the low level. We have only the language through which we can understand. Probably some association with him or some deeper study, that's all. So we can approximate it to the maximum extent. So not fully. And that trying to approximate it will definitely give us a lot of clarity. It will push us one more step. So writing down, translating, it will help us a lot. That is why in Likita Naam Japa, you remember, 25th Silver Jubilee, Mataji asked everybody to send the Naam and Likita. She wanted 25 crores. The idea was, when you write, a lot of things happen. Concentration should be there, perfection should be there, regularity should be there. Even now when we go to the Ramda Mag and bookstores, you will get enthused. And what is the one which she initiated, now it's still going on. Many of you might be knowing that our Ramna Bank is full and we have to open another extension counter in another building. And again, so many cupboards were bought. It is still going on. Many people keep sending. So we were, all these Namajapa Yajna, everything, Mataji wanted, okay, you cannot write, you can. Then she will say, you write instead. Now you see, on an average, they are getting more than 2 crores a month. So it all started from writing. So writing, it got a tremendous effect. Suppose you sit before the computer and start drafting it. You are not to the extent of writing it, but still it has got its own. Because as you keep on drafting it, you will again go through and refine it. Because you want to go as near as possible to the ideal which is welling up in your heart, which you are putting it in some form of words. So after 2-3 readings, you will find, no, it's not very clear. Again you put. So the unknowingly it is churning, Manana is going. And that will have its own impact. Yes, anything else? Today it has been relatively a lighter session, Not a very
No high voltage. No high voltage.
But tomorrow it may be again an examination. We don't know. Let us see. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram. What did we cover today? Falguni Ben started with something, you know.
Receding from vanishing form.
Receding
from the vanishing forms.
Receding from the vanishing form. And then when? After that?
Prayer song is started.
Prayer.
First prayer, good. And in that prayer, we were trying to understand
Indwelling reality.
indwelling and outward. Indwelling reality, we get some idea. The eye of the eye, ear of the ear, no? That made us to think about it. So, yeah, from there, Falguni even raised the point of refeeding. And then she started telling how to, when she said, the spoon, the cabbage, the knife. All those things are very, very important words. That means we are trying. There is an effort on our part. It is something very nice. And we have heard Mataji used to say that, but now we are trying slowly, you know, all of us are being prompted, right from a small, tiny article. There is an effort on our part, whether it is absolutely right or wrong. We have made an effort. That's the biggest thing. And from there we moved on to
Two incidents songs.
Not reforming others.
Yes. Then.
We are not here to reform others, but if we have to say lovingly.
Eh?
We are not here to reform others.
We are not here. So whenever we are prompted to do, lovingly do it. Lovingly we do it. Even if we have to use some words, it may be
Just upon medical science.
We should be free from any malice.
Then Padmaji's prayer.
And the prayer, whether we should write it or not, it can be as everybody decides. But the advantage of writing it is that we may be able to evaluate ourselves, our mind's play, our mind's journey, our mind's nature to go forward. And we may be able to correct ourselves. We may be able to refine ourselves. So wherever it's possible, we can do that and then tear it out. That's all. Because when once we apply our mind deeply, it will have its own deep impact. Otherwise, it is likely that we may forget. So with that, we close. So many important points were discussed today. In a nutshell, in a single word, if you put spirituality in day-to-day life. So let us all try our level best. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. One more thing today, Papa made us to observe today. Suddenly the system said, something wrong. And it went off.
Stillness gone. 5 minutes stillness. 5 minutes stillness.
So we waited. Then it said, okay, slowly it started coming back. But I don't think anybody has switched off. So our life is always full of up and down. We need not think that everything will go exactly like what we planned. So even when he plays a role in slightly disturbing it,
accepting our situation,
we found everybody sticking on to the system, no?
Accepted situations.
The moment they opened, I saw the same number. Nobody has withdrawn. So that means, slowly, they may not know all these things, but slowly, indirectly, everybody is accepting that all these changes are natural.
We are accepting Swamiji.
We also were not sure whether the system will come back. We had absolutely no clue. As you know, nobody is there with me. And I don't have any computer knowledge, excepting to operate certain things. If something goes wrong, we have to depend upon somebody. And that somebody has to come from another place. So we just patiently waited. If you want to continue, okay. Otherwise, okay. That is also okay. Then suddenly, that is slowly it's coming. Another lesson for all of us.
Yes.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Pranam Swamiji. Pranam Swamiji. Pranam Swamiji.
Namaskaram.
Pranam Swamiji. Hari Om. Pranam Swamiji. Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam.
Pranam.